Welcome to A Canadian Investing in the U.S., a podcast and YouTube channel focused on Canadians buying real estate with host Glen Sutherland.
Welcome to a new episode of A Canadian Investing in the U.S. with Glen Sutherland. This week, my guest is Torrin Brauch. Torrin, let's start off by giving everybody a bit of an introduction to you.
Hey, nice to meet you, Glenn. I moved down to Ecuador about 12 years ago because I was sick of the food supply in the United States. I came for an exploratory trip for 5 days, and I just fell in love, and I actually bought my first property on my third day here. They have a nice property registry, and I have no regrets.
Okay, well, you just threw a whole lot there right off the start.
Sorry about that.
No, I love it. We got so many ways to go. Okay, well, let's start from the very first thing you said. You said food supply. What drew you there for the food supply?
Well, I was growing my own food in Florida for I started around 2016 or something on a 20-acre farm in Bonita Springs. And I just could never find any good food in the supermarket, And I was doing a lot of triathlons, and I was just, I watched Forks Over Knives, and people started talking about plant-based diet and stuff like that, and chemicals and antibiotics and steroids, I was just always. So I started growing my own food, and I basically knew nothing about how to grow my own food, and I started producing soil, and anyways, long story short, I actually was pretty successful in Bonita Springs, but all my neighbors were using chemicals. Yeah. So it's like, wow. Then I came down to Ecuador, and the soil's just richer down here, and nothing's really destroyed. It's just lower population, and I've just started doing these food forests, and we incorporate these food forests within the communities, and when I wake up in the morning, instead of going to the grocery store, I just go out to the food forest.
Love it. So you said you bought a property right away when you moved down there. So was the idea the idea for the land was in order to grow the food, or was it just a home to live in? What did this first house look like?
Well, I sort of hit the wall up in the United States. I just felt it was all played out. I guess I'd quit drinking, and I was living on Fort Myers Beach in South Florida, and after you hit all the bars or get thrown out of all the bars, and it's like, whoa, what do I do now? And then, you stop drinking, you want to start taking care of yourself, and you get to the middle age. I was 37 years old. Shit, my life's not going as good as I think. So let's explore new opportunities. So Ecuador was just like my second life down here.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, we're at the lodge right now, and I bought a house on 2 hectares, which is 5 acres, and it was down at about a mile high, and it's in the Andes Mountains, 1 hour from Cuenca. Cuenca was voted the #1 city in South America for quality of life recently. And I walked on this property in the middle of the night, and it just felt right. So I met an attorney the next day, and everything just started going in place. The attorney made sense. She spoke English. There was a property registry. And before you know it, I felt comfortable enough to transfer the money down and make the purchase. And then I started transitioning a little money out of the United States. I built a little hotel here. I have 17 units, and on the whole property, it's an agricultural area. My property taxes are $19 per year.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's a different tax system here. The things are just different, and the government is not in business to make money off of the people here. The people are it's a small government. It's sort of the opposite of the United States.
That's okay. Every time you talk, I'm like, oh my goodness, I have so many more questions.
Well, we might have to talk. We might have to go into specific topics.
Yeah, no. I just love. I like the idea of a whole different country, Ecuador. Okay, so you said there's a housing registry. I'm guessing that's kind of like, like the multiple listing service in the U.S. or Canada.
It's a property registry, and it would be the same as the clerk and recorder.
Okay.
So once you buy a property, it gets registered. Same as you go down to the courthouse, then you register your deed in the United States, with a title company, then they register it at the clerk and recorder. Well, that was important to me because I've been to Costa Rica, and they had like this squatters' rights and stuff like that. And I went to Peru. It's more of a judicial system. And I've been to other places, and Ecuador has this rule of law. They were sort of settled by the Spanish, and there's a nice structure of the whole system here. So I felt comfortable investing in a foreign country.
Okay.
After looking at other places, they just nothing really lined up right. It was like, okay, does this feel safe? No, maybe not. Well, I'll throw some money at it. But Ecuador wasn't like that. It was like there's an economy down here, and people are working.
Okay. So you buy this farm. What are the prices like?
I paid, if I remember right, I paid for the 5 hectares. It had a house, and it's right off of the main road. I paid $365,000 for
Okay.
it about 12 years ago.
Okay.
And I was a cell tower builder in the United States, and I had a little bit of money, and I was just looking for something different anyways. And like I say, on this property, the property taxes were $19 a year. It is wild. It's wild. So if you average that out over 12 years, I put all this infrastructure in, and I thought the rental business would take off more than it did. But when I look back, the reason I moved down here was for quality of life, and I did achieve those goals. I'm not just killing it down here in Ecuador. I mean, we're not getting rich, I mean, the people just aren't flooding down here. But if you're looking for quality of life, and if you want to get back to nature and have a little adventure, and if you're like me where you just hit the wall and want something different, I mean, this would be a place to explore. I'm not saying you can come down here and be flipping stuff, like the United States, where you can just, everybody's on this ride where you flip it, flip it, flip it, and then the last guy that owns it gets burnt, and it pulls back 70% like it did in 2008. I don't know if that's going to happen again, but there are problems happening in Florida right now. Not to get off track.
Yeah. No. No. Oh, good. Yeah. They're. Yeah. We're gonna get off track if we're gonna get talking about that. But so you said, if I caught this right, you said 17 units. So when you bought this property, did it have those, or did you have to put those in? Are you looking to invest in the U.S.? Are you looking for a coaching program that will actually save you money and help you avoid mistakes? My students get discounts on lawyers, attorneys. If you're looking to get an E2 visa, if you're looking for certain software, if you're looking to even speak with CPAs, I have discounts for all these things. If you want to just get on a quick phone call and we can discuss if it's a fit for you, 10-minute phone call, go to glensutherland.com or at CanadianInvestingInTheUSA.com and book a call.
I built all those. I have a healthy construction background, and I hired some subcontractors, and we supervised them. And believe it or not, maybe 4 out of 5 of the subcontractors I've used, we've had good relationships with, and that's higher than in the United States. I would say the retaining rate of people I use is higher here than in the United States. I've had good luck with the workmanship, the quality of work, the honesty, the work ethic. And so, yeah, I built all these units, and that's in the mountains. And then plus, I started selling out of Florida, and I ended up buying like 5 or 6 other farms down here in the mountains. And we started planting these food forests, and we're just building houses within. And I've sold many lots to Ecuadorians, people wanting to move out of the city and come down. And there's just something innate about living where you go out and pick your food. It's like, whether you believe in biology or evolution, I think the monkeys did it, and but I like going out and picking my food from a tree instead of going to the supermarket and putting it in a plastic bag.
Yeah, you know what? There's got to be there is something to be said for that. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. So you're building these, like you said, 17 units. So what are 17 units? Are that like 17 houses? Is it like a small apartment building? Like what? How do I picture this? Put a vision in my head.
This specific property is in a town called Lentag, and I built a community kitchen with a nice recreation room, open. Everything's open because the weather's so nice. There's no bugs where I'm at.
Yeah.
The weather is pretty much the same year round. There are a couple rainy seasons, but not a heavy rain. So everything's outdoor living with plants and no walls, with a nice breeze. So I did a community kitchen, and basically everything's just nice 1-bedroom units with a living room. I have a couple 2-story buildings, and with a community kitchen, and everybody can socialize and have group vacations. I put in 3 jacuzzis and a nice big swimming pool, and it just flows. The views are all around. There's mountains that I can see that are 12,000 feet high. And then down where I'm at, I'm 5,000. So I can actually look right up the hill there, and it's a 7,000 feet gain, which is, it's just, the landscapes are spectacular here.
Okay, and so these are like tourists that come in and use these buildings.
Well, actually, we've done everything from restaurants to, yes, it's basically this property is a hotel on the side of the road.
Okay.
Now, up on the hill, we can do residential living and stuff like that.
Okay, and then so say someone's like, "Hey, this sounds like an awesome place to go." Is it like how do they find this? Do they do Airbnb there? Do they have a different name?
My name, oh yeah, it's livethelife.in-ecuador.com.
Okay.
I've been using that name for 12 years. You can check it out. Everything's on Google. All our properties are on Google. You can come in. I mean, I'll pick you up at the airport, first time visitors, to make sure you're comfortable. Drive you right here. And that's what's nice about this place. It actually is a great place to land and set foot and just get your, get acclimated and then just check things out. And, everybody says to rent, don't do what I did and buy right away, but, come down and check it out. And we do have nice rentals. And then if you decide to build something, or if you like what's down here, if you have the means and you want to invest or have something in the future for growing food, if you feel a little unsafe about what's going on other places, or like me, it just turned out wow, maybe it didn't really work out, but quality of life wise, I don't know where else I'd rather be.
Yeah. So you just talked about people like going down there and their first like how to start. So you first step is you just come down and you suggest renting off the start. And like just walk me through how this would. Are you looking to buy property in the United States but not interested to travel there just to sign the notary? Did you know there are 6 different ways to sign notary as a Canadian, and only 2 of them involve going to the United States? To get my free guide on notary, go to acanadianinvestingintheusa.com/notary. Play out.
Well, the first thing people ask is which airport, and so I always ask, where are you coming out of, so there's lots of connections. You can fly into Quito or Guayaquil or Manta or Cuenca. And so those are basically the 4 airports in Ecuador. I can get you from Guayaquil, Manta, or Cuenca, and then I'll pick you up personally, and then I'll drive you down here, and then we'll discuss, what are your goals? How long are you staying? I have a guy coming down next week. He spent a whole month in Dominica. This is the next place on his adventure. Just a man that's retired and just wants to come. Never been to Ecuador, never been to South America, just wants to come check it out. He's a friend of a friend. So maybe someday you would want to come down here and do a podcast. I mean, I'm throwing this out at you, but I mean, if you're looking for something to do, come down and we'll do a podcast from down here, and then you'll discover what I'm talking about. The quality of the food. The food is just the taste is just totally different, because most of the food in the United States is shipped in from Mexico or Ecuador or Colombia, and then by the time it's shipped and they do their tricks and you eat it 10 days later, it's just a different taste.
Okay, I haven't been to Ecuador myself. Is like not having a Spanish background or knowing Spanish gonna hold you back?
Well, I don't have 100% fluency yet, but I practice and I can communicate, and these phone translators are exceptional now. So if you take the time and you sit there and you can have a conversation on your phone, and you study, you do the Duolingo at night, and you talk to everybody, and I can initiate conversations and people can understand me, and that happens right away. A lot of English speakers, as a matter of fact, probably half the Ecuadorians work in the United States and send their money back to Ecuador. Everybody plans on retiring down here, and that's probably our biggest customers, Ecuadorians coming back to the United States, because the structure has changed. The wages have stayed the same, but the prices of everything have gone higher. So it's like, wow, I'm working myself off. Well, it's coming up to my retirement age. Let's buy that little piece of property and start planting our trees, and that's where I'm going to retire.
I love it. I was gonna ask you like, hey, what was it like for like internet, for cell phone service? I'm guessing it's pretty decent. Like you're on a cell phone right now having this conversation with me.
I was up on the hill. I could have talked to you up on the hill, but I had to come down and actually download Zoom. So I downloaded Zoom and got everything all situated up, which I should have done beforehand. But no, I downloaded Zoom right away. I'm using a Starlink, to be honest with you. With the rain.
Yeah.
I mean, they have fiber internet here, but if the rain or somebody hits a power pole or there's a wreck on the side of the road, and it's just for consistency, these Starlinks are just the way to go.
I like it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And
talk to me about the property. So someone's like, "Hey, I like this. It sounds good to me." You said you had a website. Could you repeat that for me again?
yeah, my website is livethelifeinecuador.com. And if you got the cash, we can do a closing. I introduce you to attorney. You can get your own attorney, English speaking attorney up there in Cuenca, and or we can do the closing in house. We construct your deed, and it has the whole history of the property. Then it gets registered in the property registry. And it's a simple process, probably easier than the United States.
Okay. And if you were going to buy a property down there, is this something you have to do in cash, or can you get a mortgage on it, or what's it kind of look like?
Well, it's the U.S. dollars used down here, so it's easy to transfer money, and I do seller financing on all my stuff because,
Okay.
and I've just pretty much went with this 5% rate for years. If you want to do a bridge loan, or if you're selling something up there and you want to just come down and make payments, a lot of people still want to work. A lot of young guys are saying, "Hey, man, let me just make my monthly payments. I charge a 5% interest rate." They travel the world. I got a couple guys in Australia. One guy's still up in Washington. They've never owned property before in their whole life, and they're so excited to purchase something in Ecuador. And I just let them make payments, and then we keep track of it with a written contract. And at the end of the day, once they pay it off, we'll go record it down at the land registry. And yes, we can record a mortgage. They have another thing called a promise to sell down here, where I do a contract where I promise to sell this after you meet these needs. So everything is very contractual and put down in a written agreement. And everything is in Spanish, but it's easy to translate. Not that complicated.
Yeah. Plus, I think they got ChatGPT for that. You can go and translate this whole thing for me. Yeah. Read it to me in English.
Well, you bring your translator in, and actually you can, before you go into the closing, you translate your whole thing and you read it, and the deed talks about the history of the property, and then it talks about all the dimensions and what's included. Do your water rights included? Here's your easement to the road, and then that gets put in with the previous tax statement, a solvency from the municipality, and a few other things, and then a libre de gravamines, which means there's nothing on the property, no hindrances on the property, and all this is put together, and they call it an escritura. And when you leave, after you sign it, it goes, after you pick it up from the property registry, you have a nice little packet, and that's your deed, and you have a copy of your deed, or they leave a copy in the property registry. And you can use that for your visa application too. Ecuador, if you invest $45,000 in Ecuador, you can obtain a residency visa here. So then you spend 6 months. A lot of Canadians come down 6 months a year in Ecuador, 6 months a year in Canada. And it's just they pick the time they want to come, whenever the weather's suitable for them.
Winter.
Winter, yeah.
Winter in Canada. Yeah. So if final tips, if someone's interested in this, investing in Ecuador or coming to live in Ecuador, any last tips or anything that you would suggest or recommend to them?
Well, I use a U.S. phone number. My phone number is a WhatsApp. Everybody uses WhatsApp down here, and it's 1-239-848-5876. You can send and ask any questions. You can look up that livethelifeinecuador.com website. I just redid the whole thing. It has a collaborator section, so if people want to come down and collaborate and actually work down here, a lot of young people, hey, I need to work. I want to work. So we have work opportunities down here. We could discuss that later. Collaboration opportunities to come down and actually collaborate. And I've been down here long enough, and I'm sort of a business oriented person. If you're actually looking to make money, I have the capability to sell you investment opportunities, projects. I have about 15 projects ready to come out of the ground, where I could say, hey, here's a $10 million project or a $15 million project that you can sell to your friends. So then you could actually start a little project down here, a second business, have a tax deduction, and maybe you got to make a whole ton of money in the United States, and you want to have a farm in Ecuador to have a tax deduction. I mean, there's all kinds of strategies and reasons to come down here and take a look at those things. We can answer all those questions. And again, I'd invite you to come down and just
sounds like a
check it
fun
out. I'll pick you up at the airport, and I'll even cook for you, and show you. Show you the whole thing, give you the full tour, 10-day tour. We could hit the mountains and the coast, and I'll drop you off at the airport.
Honestly, it sounds like a lot of fun, and then I can just see the palm trees in the background. I can tell it's warm. Right now at this time of year, and it's warming up in Ontario. Like, I'm in Canada, but I'm sure it's a lot hotter there.
Well, I've done a lot of work. I've been to Windsor before, and it's not hot here. We're sitting on the side of the Andes Mountains here, and the average temperature is 75, 57.
Oh, okay.
There's no bugs. If you go down to the coast, you get the water off the Pacific Ocean. It's sort of the opposite season, but sometimes there's a high during the day of 63, maybe 59 at night, and that's on the coast. And you get these nice breezes coming off of the ocean. So, it's not like that subtropical, up there where it's super hot down in Florida or, down in the Caribbean. We don't have
I went
that
to
super
Costa
hot
Rica. I
weather.
just was sweating.
Yeah. Well, Costa Rica, there are some hot parts, and in Costa Rica is just sort of there's not many high altitude places, The highest point in Ecuador is 20,000 feet. There's a snow level here at 16,000 feet, and that's Chimborazo. They say Chimborazo sticks out farther from the center of the earth than Mount Everest. Just a fun fact. So the biodiversity here from the coast up the mountains, and then if you come off the backside of this, you go down and the Amazon River starts, the wetlands going into Brazil. So I mean, it's a small country, but lots of things to do. Only 14 million people. The pollution. One thing that's really nice is there's just not much pollution here. Not much industry, and not a whole lot of mining. It's just more agriculture and farming.
I love it. Well,
Yeah.
Torrin, I'm going to check out your website, and I'll reach out, and anyway, it sounds like a great time. It sounds like a great.
Well, we
place to
covered
be.
a whole lot, and if you have any more questions, these are fun. 15 minutes, and we can talk about any topic you want to talk about. I mean, anything from food to the investing, and I've bought so much stuff down here. I've got a couple kids. People are having a hard time selling things in certain parts of the world. I'd even do some trades down here. What I'm saying is I'm just flexible. If you had an old house somewhere where I have a kid or something, my daughter's in Georgia, my son's at working for the Navy in Panama City, and then I love Canada. I have lots of friends in Windsor that come down every year. And I haven't spent much time up in Canada. So it's more of a collaboration thing, meeting new friends,
I love it. Well, Torrin, so much information. I really appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you so much.
That was a nice video. Bye.